The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents Something the Boxing Game's Missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT. I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. So, yes, guys, we're live once again. We're live. We're coming to you guys live and direct from the land of the rising sun. My second home in the world. And I guess you could say, for the time being, the home of Team Leo, Angelo Leo, and the rest of the team, Osaka, Japan. Yes, I'm here today. This is the aftermath of Angelo Leo versus Tomoki Kameda. I am here to put the finishing touches on the coverage for this fight because, man, this has been a very significant fight to be a part of. This has been a very significant experience in my life. This has been a very just amazing from start to finish. So this is going to be a special live because I am going to give you guys some of my thoughts, some of my extended review of the fight. You will get that, but later on, I'm going to say it's 12 p.m. here in Japan right now, so 12 in the afternoon here in Japan. Angelo Leo will be on this live in about 30 or 40 minutes, and then we'll have Miguel Leo as well, so you guys can get their take and their thoughts, and you guys can ask them your questions, And for anybody out there who didn't like the performance against Kameda, this is your chance to tell them that, hey, they can't beat Inoue, they can't beat Espinosa. This is your chance to say anything good or bad to them because they're going to be here throughout the course of this live. So, stay tuned for that. But make sure you smash that like button. Definitely super chat. Definitely subscribe. Definitely run it up for True School because we've been here. And, we definitely had a really interesting time at the fight. So, with that being said, let me take some time to acknowledge the fine folks that have already went ahead and gave their comments and made their presence be known in the chat. So, we'll start with my main man, ProBox TV, Daniel Rubin in the building. He said, and still, that's right. And still is correct. And still is very, very correct. And still the IBF Featherweight champion. We got him. We got longtime viewer Reverse Lee in the building. Good to see Reverse Lee. Michael Manning in the chat. One of my favorite viewers in the world. Shout out to Michael Manning. Jesus M says, saludos. I had the fight 5-5. Going to the 11 and 12. Leo won 7-5. Okay, 7-5. I mean, I'll get to my scorecard in a second. He said, I saw you walk into the ring. Yeah, man, I was there. I was there, and I was definitely it was a great experience. So Kyoto says, BT, I'm a Japanese fan, but I can't find any info on the ring card girls for the fight. Can you ask around? I'll tell you this, there was this one ring card girl, she wasn't around after the fight. They just got up out of there. But there was this one ring card girl. She was, as they say, the chef's kiss. So I'll definitely ask around for you when I get in touch with some people. But listen, I only got about 25 minutes or so to get my thoughts out before Angelo and Miguel get here. So let me get to the matter at hand. So I'll start before I get to Angelo because we have class. We have class here on True School Sports. If you're a part of Team Leo, you gotta have class because Angelo has class. So I'm gonna start out this live actually by talking about the challenger, the man that actually made a really great fight. I want to give my respect. I want to give my my respect and I guess my adoration and everything to Tomoki Kameda. I think he deserves his flowers in this fight. As a true warrior of boxing, he deserves this. He deserves the respect. I'll be honest with you guys. I watched a lot of tape on Tomoki Kameda. I watched the Leonardo Diamante fight. I watched a lot of his recent fights. And I honestly did not think he was gonna go the distance. He's a guy that likes to open up. He's a guy that does have good hand speed. But we knew he was experienced, and we also knew that with Tomoki Kameda that he was gonna give whatever he had left to give in his soul, with any fiber of his being, he was gonna give it on this night, and that he did. He definitely did that. I don't think I went back and I watched the fight, and I'm gonna get to that here in a second. I don't think the fight was as close as I thought it was when I was there at the venue because I had from my angle was a very weird angle while I was watching the fight, and we were in Japan. We were actually at the fight, so anytime he threw his punches, the crowd's going crazy. I thought it was a wider fight when I watched it back, but regardless, I got to give Tomoki Kameda a lot of credit because he showed his IQ in this fight because he knew how to break the rhythm of Angelo. He knew when to tie him up. He just pulled out every veteran tactic humanly possible in the book, and he gave himself he gave himself the best possible chance to win in his hometown. He fell a little short because I think ultimately the judges saw that there were just too many moments in this fight where he was conning his way through the fight. He wasn't trying to really like make the fight. Like he was doing a lot of holding, coming in with his head, and I think the judges recognized that, and they recognized the clean and effective punching of Angelo Leo, and that was the difference in the fight. But I'll tell you this, I was scared shitless only because we were in his hometown, and when you're in somebody's hometown, you got to almost assume that before you even throw a punch, you're down 2 points. So I had it like when I scored the fight live and I was there, I had it 8-4. But if you're down 2 points and you win fight 8-4, it's a draw. So if I'm scoring it, if I'm using that rule, and I call it the Johnny rule because my boy Johnny Cortillo, he's also part of the team. That's his rule for scoring fights. If I use that rule and it's 8-4, but I use that rule and then to draw my scorecard, then who knows? I was in the mentality of like, who knows what the fuck the judges are gonna say. So regardless, look, I thought Kameda gave a great showing, and I think this is probably the best performance he's had in years. I think Kameda would do very, very well against the other like contenders. Like as you guys can see in the header, I want to see Kameda fight Omar Trinidad and Makita Nakano. I think those would be very good fights for the featherweight division. You know, Omar Trinidad's a fighter that has been talking a lot about wanting to fight Angelo Leo, and of course, if he gets, he might be a guy that gets picked for a voluntary defense. He's right there. So you know, if he's a guy we got to fight, then I got no problem spotting him. I think that's a very good fight for us. But you know, I think Kameda versus Trinidad would actually give us more insight to how good Omar Trinidad is, and he could actually go ahead and show himself where his skills are at against a former world champion. I like that fight a lot. You know, Trinidad can box, but he likes to slug. You know, I think that's actually a fight Kameda could win. You know, and then we do know that the guy that's been making a lot of noise here in Japan, or who made a lot of noise, I should say, in the States during his American debut was the Makita Nakano, the explosive southpaw featherweight. The fighter that I think of all the Japanese featherweights is the best featherweight from Japan, because Japan right now has about 4 or 5 guys ranked across all 4 sanctioning bodies at featherweight. So I think Nakano versus Kameda will be a very good fight in Japan. I don't know if it'll happen because, you know, he's with Japanese. These were the Japanese politics coming to play. He's with Mr. Honda. Kameda is with himself, you know, Kameda. So that's always a big thing in Japan. You know, the Mr. Honda and Ohashi, they don't like Kameda's. Kameda don't like them. It's a big thing. So maybe that can't happen. But those are 2 fights I like to see. But either way, you cut it up, slice it, dice it. I wanted to open up the live and just say, look, respect to Tomoki Kameda. He's a good featherweight, and he's probably gonna be a tougher fight for Angelo than a lot of fighters that are champions. I really believe after this fight, I actually believe that this fight will wind up being tougher than some of the fights that you guys think he'll lose. Some of the fights that people say Angelo will lose to the likes of Espinoza or Nick Ball or the Fulton rematch, because I've been seeing a lot of people running their mouths about, you know, what Angelo can and can't do against the top featherweights in the division, the other champions, right? I think this fight is going to be tougher than those fights because a lot of these fighters who have belts don't have the IQ or the experience level of a guy like Tomoki Kameda. Remember, Kameda is a guy that has over 47 fights, all this experience in Japan, all this experience in Mexico, been world champion, defended. He's seen everything. He's seen a lot. So you can't get much tougher than that for your first defense on the road. And I just want to give my respect to start the live off and just start it off in the most classy and respectful manner humanly possible. Now, let me get to a couple comments before I get to my next point. BT, he says, BT, I don't know what fight people were watching. Leo clearly won this fight easily and wide. I scored at 118, 110. Kameda didn't throw enough, and he fought mostly one punch at a time. When I finally went back and I watched it, and I'm getting to that now, I had this fight a lot wider, a whole lot wider, truth be told, because, you know, and we'll get to that now. I really think, guys, that this fight on the scorecards was only close for one reason and one reason only, and that reason is because we were in Osaka, Japan. If this fight's anywhere else that's not in Japan, that's not in Osaka, Japan, this fight's in America, anywhere in America, Angelo Leo wins a 117, 111, or 118, 110 decision. When I watched it back, because when I was there at the fights, I scored at 8-4, but with us being there in Osaka, you know, who knows, right? So I was kind of like trying to, you know, look at the worst case scenario, because you have to expect the worst case scenario when you're on the road. You know, I don't care if you're in Japan, because there's been robberies in Japan. People like to romanticize the fact that, you know, Japanese boxing, does actually get a lot of things right, but I've seen some pretty bad robberies, some pretty atrocious robberies in Japan over the last, couple of years. So that being said, you never know. And it's the Kamedas, and we're in Osaka. So when I last night I watched the fight back, and I saw like a completely different fight. I scored the fight 9 rounds to 3. So what was that? 118, 110. I just thought, look, Kameda had his game plan. He was trying to take away he was trying to take away that left hook of Angelo. He didn't want to be on a highlight reel like Fernando Lopez or Mike Plania. So he was trying to do everything he can to take that punch away. He was coming in a lot with his head, right? He was leading a lot with his head, and the referee didn't really do us a lot of favors because Kameda, he's low blowing, he's holding, he's leading with his head, and so when you're not getting the referee to police that, things can get very difficult. But I thought Angelo Leo and Miguel Leo and Luis Chavez and just the whole corner, everybody, I thought they did a great job of telling Angelo to go box. This is where I want to get at. I want to get at this right here because I remember vividly. I'm gonna tell you guys a story. I vividly remember 4 years ago. There was one day when Angelo was sparring Hector Luis Garcia, and at that time, Hector Luis Garcia wasn't even a name in boxing. He wasn't a name in boxing. And I remember telling Angelo that I wanted to see him use his jab more because he had shown in sparring that he had a very good jab. But at that time, he just wasn't as developed as he is now. He wasn't as experienced as he is now. And as time has went on and as years have gone on, he's gotten more comfortable using his actual jab. And in this fight, he basically won this fight primarily with his jab, which I think, if I'm being honest, looking at his whole career, this is the first fight at this level where I can say, you know what? He won the fight literally with his jab, his boxing skills. And that, if you go back 4 years ago and you watch Angelo Leo against Aaron Alameda, you would have never have thought that he would develop into that kind of a fighter who could do that. But that goes back to my point about him. I keep telling you guys, right now his best boxing is in front of him, and Angelo Leo at featherweight is the most complete fighter in the division. And there's been a lot made about he's the weakest in the division, and he can't be Inoue, he can't beat Espinoza, whatever the case may be, right? And truth be told, if you want to just talk about, if you could compare this fight, the guys that Ball has been fighting since he got the belt, Espinoza has been fighting since he got the belt, and now Angelo Kameda. Kameda in Japan is a much harder defense than Ball or Espinoza had. Ball fought, Ronnie Rios in his hometown of Liverpool, easy defense. Espinoza fought Sergio Trino Sanchez, who was the only Mexican I've ever seen quit in a fight not named Chavez Jr. So, these guys had cupcake opponents for their first defenses, right? And that's just the truth. There's no way, it's not even being biased. Just you guys tell me, do you think Ronnie Rios or Sergio Trino Sanchez are better than Tomoki Kameda? Former IBF bantamweight champion, 3 defenses, 47 fights, all this experience. Are you gonna look me in my face and tell me that those guys were tougher than Kameda? I don't think so. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna hear that from nobody. So I thought he boxed very well. Obviously, I want a knockout. I think early in Angelo's featherweight run against Polanco, against Plania, and against Venado, I've been very accustomed to him getting knockouts. I'll be honest with you, because he does hit very hard at this weight class. But one thing I had to learn in this fight is that you're not going to knock everybody out. There's going to be some guys that are very experienced. There's going to be some guys that have veteran tactics, that just know how to survive and take certain things away. And that's where you got to show that extra bit of quality. And I thought he showed very good quality. I still think there's a lot that can be improved upon, and improved upon it will be. But man, you can't really ask for much more in your first defense coming on the road to Japan. I mean, look, I follow a lot of Japanese boxing, and I know how hard it is for foreign fighters to win in Japan. I mean, I could probably count on 2 hands in the last couple of years how many foreign fighters have come to Japan and won against high-level Japanese fighters, like, your Rene Santiago, Jonathan Gonzalez. You guys help me name. You guys help me name foreign fighters that have won big fights in Japan against other big-name Japanese fighters in title fights. It's not many. It's very, very few. I mean, Brian Norman Jr. has to come here and deal with fighting in Japan. That's a challenge on its own. I want to see how he does with it. Eduardo Sugar Nunez, in a matter of 2 days, he has to deal with fighting in Japan. So it's when you come to Japan, if it's not just, you're not just fighting the fighter that you got to fight, and Japanese fighters are normally at a pretty good level, pretty high level. There's also a lot of just adjustments that have to be made as far as acclimation to the time. The Japanese Boxing Commission is very, very different. They operate differently than America. So you got to even overcome that. And when Miguel Leo gets here, I'll have Miguel Leo tell you guys about maybe some of the experiences that we had in the locker room during fight week for the Kameda fight, and you guys can maybe get some better understanding on that. But either way, look, I can't ask for much more. This fight, I think, because I remember when Angelo fought Aaron Alameda, that was a fight where people were saying he was a bum, he sucks, this, that, and the third. But I think if he doesn't have that Aaron Alameda fight, he doesn't win against Fernando Lopez in the way he did years down the line, or Planilla, or I don't think he becomes champion again without the Aaron Alameda fight. So the same thing I'll say for that fight, I'll say for this fight. If he doesn't have this fight against Kameda, I don't think he's 100% ready to fight on the level of fighting an Inoue fight or doing the Espinosa unification fight. I think this mentally has taken Angelo to another level, and just everybody on the team, from me to his sparring partners like Fernando Pedes and Joseph Maicero, for their own boxing careers. Everyone. I mean, just everyone involved. So yeah, that's where I'll stay on that. I went back, I scored the fight. I scored at 118 to 110, 9 rounds to 3. Or 117, 111. I can't really see any better than 117, 111 for Kameda. Kameda just did not penetrate the defense enough, and I just think that Angelo controlled the fight with his boxing skills. But that's me. Some people may see a different fight. I went back at the fight. I saw a different fight. When I watched it back, I saw a better fight. And I was expecting to see not something good. So I'll leave it at that. But shout out to the chat. We got everybody here. We got a lot of people here. A lot of great people here. He says, I used to think Americans are fair in judging fights and Japanese are cheaters. I was all wrong. It turned out to be the other way around. I don't want to romanticize any country. I think there's a lot of corruption that goes on in America, and trust me, I pay a lot of attention to Japanese boxing. There's a lot of corruption that goes on in Japanese boxing. So I would say that. I would say there's corruption everywhere in boxing. Bro, that's the most physical fight Leo's ever had in the ring by far at the high level. He really needed that. Yeah, no, it was a great fight, man. It was great because, I mean, think about it, right? If you just break down the styles in the division, right? Rafael Espinosa is a big fighter, and he has thick bone density, but I wouldn't describe Rafael Espinosa as a ultra physical guy. He lights you up from the mid range and the outside. Well, no, that's not true. He can be physical, but what I'm saying is he likes to get extension on his punches, so it normally requires him being at the mid-range. He will give up his size, and he can be physical, but that's not like his bread and butter. Nick Ball is physical. This fight will benefit him in a Nick Ball fight. In a way, great fighter, mid-range fighter, very quick, very explosive, not really a physical fighter. So I think this fight is going to do a lot for him. I agree. BT, you gotta let Leo know to not bend in the jab, especially late in the late rounds, which he has done and did versus Committee. No, I agree. I think he could have thrown it a lot more, but I thought he was pretty consistent throughout the fight. I mean, I think if you're looking at all the fights where he hasn't got knockouts, it's the one fight at a high level where I can say he won the fight primarily because of his jab. In other fights, the jab was a piece, and then sometimes it was the left hook, sometimes it was a straight right. This fight, I would say the number one reason why he won was his jab and his legs. Let me see who else we got here. While we're sitting here waiting for Angelo and Miguel to arrive, who else we got here? I agree. I thought Leo beat him pretty easily, except the second half. It was a much more of a tighter-ish fight, but even after that, I gave Kameda 4 rounds. Exactly. I thought it was 4 rounds, and he did a great job. I got to give it to Kameda. That's why I started a lot giving him his flowers. He did what not even Fernando Lopez could do. He was able to break the rhythm of Angelo Leo and really just pulled out every veteran tactic in the entire book. So, yeah. He says, I think Leo beats all of them at 126. I do too, but we do have some work to do. I'm not gonna be delusional here. We have some work to do. Angelo, I think, can get to another level. And it's crazy because somebody said this on Twitter, and I agree with the statement, because he's had 27 pro fights, and I think in his whole 27 professional fight career, we've probably only seen the A+ version of Angelo Leo, the A or A+ version of Angelo Leo probably 3 or 4 times. I would say the 3 or 4 occasions where the A+ Angelo showed up at a good level, at a high level, would be Venado, Cesar Juarez, Planilla, and I'll say Eduardo Baez. And this fight was good, but I mean, I don't know if I will say it's A level. It was very good though. I would say it's a B performance. Muniz Gamble says, I personally thought the fight only got more competitive because Leo in the middle rounds abandoned the jab when he couldn't miss the whole fight. Yeah, and I think you're right. And I think part of that reason is because I just think that Kameda was coming in with his head. You know, there was some swelling. It was crazy. Tajiron and Jerusalem are shaping up the minimum weight. Yeah, we'll get to Pedro later on. I definitely got to give Pedro Tajiron his flowers. You know, he went in there and he chopped up Shigioka like it was nothing. He just chopped them up. You know, Pedro Tajiron is looking like one of the most devastating fighters in boxing right now. And I don't care if it's Jerusalem or Kalalo, he's going to be a tough out for anybody. You know, great performance from him. And my prayers definitely go out to Jinjiro Shigioka because he got carried out on a stretcher. You don't want to see that in boxing. You know, I know Shigioka's gym chairman Kiyoshi Watanabe very well of Watanabe Gym. He's a good friend of the program, and you know, you don't want to see that happen to people. You know, these guys go in there, they give it their all, and you know, for that to happen, that's unfortunate. But it's the reality of the fight game, and it's the reality that every fighter has to face when they go in the ring. I know. Whether it's Angelo or other friends in the fight game, I know that could easily be them on any given night. So you got to always, whenever they get out that ring safely, we're just grateful. Win or loss, we're just grateful, you know. Can good is it feel that Angelo have another good person in the future? I'm happy for him, man. He's earned it. I know a lot of fighters. He's the hardest working fighter I know by far in boxing. By far, like, and that's why he's at where he's at, and that's why he keeps getting better. You know, you don't get to where he's at not being an insanely obsessed and hard worker, and that's what he is. And I'm just covering boxing here on True School is one of my greatest honors in life. And then, you know, to even just play this big of a role is like a massive honor for me, and I don't take it for granted. TSM wants to know, how would I describe Angelo's jab? He said it's almost like a flicker jab. Yeah. He throws it from different. He can so he's kind of incorporated a bit of an up jab. Like he can throw it from down here. He can throw it from the traditional sense. I do think he's got to continue to add some different variations, but I would describe it like that. And you know, while I'm sitting here, right, because I want to address this. I want to address this because I got about maybe 10 minutes before Angelo and Miguel get here. I got a lot of comments after the fight. Right, because I think there's a lot of people that on YouTube that get agitated. They get agitated with how much I talk about Angelo, right? They just think like I'm being biased because he's my friend, right? And I am part of the team, so you can say, yeah, there's going to be an element of that. But I also know how damn good of a fighter he is. And I told y'all before the Venado fight what was going to happen. You know, this fight could have been better, but he still won. You know, on an off night, he still won. A bit of an off night, he still won. So I've been getting a lot of like comments about Inoue and Rafael Espinoza and even like Stephen Fulton, which I find hilarious because Stephen Fulton doesn't even want to fight at featherweight. He wants to go to 130 because he doesn't have the discipline or the drive to even make featherweight anymore. That's just the truth. That being said, Angelo not having a chance against Inoue or Espinoza, let's unpack that for a second because, and I'll start with Inoue, right? Because I like Inoue, but let's just be real. Let's be like 1,000% factual here. We know Inoue has a better resume than Angelo. He's a more accomplished fighter. He's done more in the sport. I'm not going to argue that. There's no argument. The resume speaks for itself. But if we're talking about recent history, like the last two fights, we're talking about late 2024 to, you know, just the last two fights. We'll say the last two fights. Inoue's last two fights have been against Yi Jun Kim and Ramon Cardenas, right? Now, Yi Jun Kim was a colossal cherry pick. I understand that Goodman pulled out. It was a short notice opponent, later placement. I get it, but like they got money. Like Ohashi Promotions got money. They could have got a better backup opponent than Yi Jun Kim. That was a cherry pick. That is a fact. Then he fought Ramon Cardenas, who's a good fighter. He's a good fighter, but a lot of people thought that was a cherry pick going in. I thought it was a cherry pick going in, and it was almost a cherry pick gone wrong. To be honest with you. Now, Angelo's last two opponents have been Fernando Lopez, the longest reigning featherweight champion in the division, and then he came to Japan and he defended the belt against a former world champion with over 45 fights in Tomoki Kameda. Right? As of the last two fights, Angelo has been fighting tougher competition than Naoya Inoue. That is not hating. That's right now a fact. Inoue has a better resume. Inoue's accomplished more. Inoue is going to the Hall of Fame one day. Inoue is going to the Hall of Fame the day he retires as of right now, and Angelo is not. That is a fact, and I recognize all those things. I'm not being biased, but like, he needs to actually step up his competition. Like, you're gonna fight Merjan, bro. Merjan wouldn't even see the 7th round against Angelo Leo. So you fight Merjan next. Nobody want to see that shit. You know, Junto, that's a great fight. If it happens, we love that fight between him and Inoue. But I mean, come on, come to featherweight already. And I want the opportunity. I want the opportunity to test it out, test out what's real and what's fake. Because I'll tell you guys this: I'm not gonna get too deep into it. Maybe I could ask Miguel about it on camera when he gets here. But what I can tell you is that Naoya Inoue did not want to fight Fernando Lopez. Not him himself, but his handlers. His handlers did not like that fight. That was not like a fight they were thrilled about taking in the future. I know that for a 1,000% fact. It's not like an opinion either. It is a fact. But I'll ask Miguel about it when he comes here. So my thing is like, look, Inoue is a great fighter. When and if that fight ever happens, we're gonna be 1,000% up for that fight, and you're not gonna see the Angelo Leo in that fight. I promise you that. As far as Espinoza, look, I love Espinoza, lovely person, love him to death, love his team, love everything about him. I think he's one of the greatest people in boxing. You know, truth be told, I love Espinoza, but you know he's with Zanford Promotions. You guys know Zanford Promotions. They have a long history. Look at Zepeda, look at Munguia, look at a lot of their big name fighters, Zoro Ramirez. They're known for holding the title and just milking it. Like he hasn't really fought crazy competition since winning the belt. They're milking the title, building his star power up, building his name, building his brand. And so I think if you were to be honest, look at the guys that Angelo has fought over the years. He's fought Tremaine Williams on short notice. He fought who was undefeated. He fought Cesar Rocky Juarez at a very good stage of his career. He fought Stephen Fulton. He fought Tomoki Kameda in Japan. He fought Fernando Lopez. He gave you guys, what was it, 3 fights in 5 months on Pro Box. He's taken like he's behaved more like a champion than anybody in this weight class. So we love those fights. But the other featherweight champions got to go get their stuff together. If the paperwork gets passed, we'd love to sign it, but it has to be, you know, obviously it has to be right, but we'd love to sign it to do those fights, because those are all great fights. Those are all fights that the fans want to see. And I'll tell you guys this: I can't speak for the other fighters, but I know that when it comes to Angelo Leo, there's probably no fighter in this featherweight division that loves or cares about boxing more than him. So he wants to give you guys those great fights. But you know, he's also been boxing for 20 years, so they have to, you know, be fair. And you know, at least make some sort of offer. There hasn't really been any offers for the Espinoza fight or Ball or anything from what I know. So I think, look, I don't care if he's the underdog. You can make him the underdog in those fights, but don't tell me he don't got a chance to win. That's just disrespectful. It's okay if you pick Espinoza. It's okay if you want to pick Inoue, but don't tell me he don't have a chance to win. He's a damn good fighter, and he's proving it fight by fight. I would love. I want to see what the reaction is going to be when those fights happen and we prove you guys wrong. Because I do think, you know, Espinoza, he's got a lot of things he got to correct. Inoue got a whole lot of things he got to correct before he come to featherweight. And you guys saw a little bit of the things he needs to correct when he fought Ramon Cardenas. So, you know, we'll see when the time comes. But I wanted to say my little piece on that right there. But anyway, let me go to some comments, because I know we got some great comments. I've seen a Yahoo article that there was a bit of trouble that they were checking. I wasn't there. I was in the room with Angelo when Shiro Kameda was in our dressing room. Miguel was there. So when Miguel comes, you could ask that question, and I'll definitely feel free to address that. BT, we know the fight won't happen this year or next. We don't even know for sure if he's gonna move up or stay at 126. Which fight are you talking about? Look, personally, I'll just be honest with you guys. Looking at the whole landscape, I don't think we're going to get unification by the featherweight in 2025. I don't. My realistic timetable in my head is I'm thinking like spring of 2026. I'm looking at that. Kameda's punches seem to have gotten more weight behind them. He seemed to take Leo's power better than Leo did his. He seemed stronger than Leo, but still took a lot. But still took a lot of punches. Leo showed promise. Yeah, I mean, look, I think he was very physically strong. I think he was very fast. But his feet weren't fast enough, and that's we found. All Angelo needed was one hole, and he exploited it, and we won. So it doesn't matter. Fernando versus Angelo Leo rematch would be a good fight. It would be a good fight, but let's just be honest here. He needs to get some wins. Like, he hasn't fought anybody worth a damn since he got knocked out. Go win some fights and put yourself back in position. You know, nobody gave Angelo the Fernando fight. He had to go fight 3 times in 5 months, so he go do the same thing. BT, do you like Rikishi's chances versus Nunez? Yeah, I gotta watch some more tape, but I'll give him a slight chance. I might be at that fight. I'm supposed to cover it, but I'm not entirely sure yet. Inoue wanted the #1 ranked WBC silver champion, but he pulled out of the negotiations. Well, okay. I mean, Picasso. Have you guys seen Picasso fight? Like, I don't want to like talk bad or make disparaging remarks about Picasso, but you know, come on. If you watched him fight, I'm good. Inoue took out the whole 122, and Leo can't even clean out 126. Okay, keep that in mind. Hey, all I'm saying is when it happens, when Inoue winds up not getting up, because he almost didn't even make it out of 122. Cardenas almost got him out of there. When he gets hit again with something similar to that, I don't want to hear you guys say he was small. I don't want to hear you guys say he was old. I don't want to hear you guys say, oh, he was chasing greatness. No. Fuck all that. When that happens, I want you guys to put Angelo on the pound list. I want y'all to admit y'all wrong, and that's what I want it to be. Not true. Leo going into both fights will be an underdog, but I see it at 64. And that's fine. Like, I got no problem with that. I got no Espinoza and Inoue are awesome fighters. I'm a fan of both of those guys. Like, I know it may seem like I'm hating Inoue because a lot of it may seem like I'm hating Inoue because a lot of times the Inoue fans get disrespectful, and I just respond, and I got a big mouth sometimes, so I'll be talking. But nah, whenever it has nothing to do with Angelo, I love these guys. Like, I want Inoue to win all his fights when he's not fighting Angelo. I want Espinoza to win all his fights when he's not fighting Angelo. I'm a genuine fan. Like, these guys are great for boxing. These are to me some of the realest fighters in boxing. These are some of the guys that are making boxing what it is today. So how could I hate those guys? There's obviously a lot of things to overcome when it comes to those guys. Inoue has great speed, high boxing IQ, great finisher, very athletic. Speed out of his ass. Like, the guy is just fast as hell. So there's a lot to overcome, but I believe we can overcome it. I know what we got. I know we got a great fighter. Espinoza, he's a freaking tree stump. Bone density. He's starting to box from the outside now. Like, another thing to overcome. These guys are awesome fighters. Listen, anybody at this level, I don't care if it's a champion or anybody in the top 15. You get, in my mind, if you even get in the top 15, you're really good. Like, you're awesome, because every weight class has thousands of fighters. So to even be in the top 15, it's like, wow, you really did something, Inoue is great, but I don't see him staying undefeated at featherweight. He beats Ball, but someone will get him. And Ball, like, look, I think he'll beat Ball. I think he should beat Ball. But think about it, like, Ball's not even really a guarantee, because Ball is very physical. Ball throws a higher volume, a lot of volume punches, and he's got actually a pretty solid high guard defense. So should Inoue beat him? Yes, but would it shock me if Ball did something crazy? No, it wouldn't. Inoue got right up. What are you talking about? You hate for Inoue is showing hard. Yeah, my hate. My covering him for 9 years, coming to Japan like 2 times to try to interview him, covering him all over the fucking world. My hate. Yeah, my hate. Like, come on, man. Leo needs to fight Shushu at 126 before fighting Espinoza. Why? Why does he gotta fight Shushu? Does Shushu even want that fight? Let's ask that question. I love Shushu. I've talked to Bruce Carrington on Instagram. We've DM'd. I told him. I even told Shushu myself, and y'all could, if any, I told Shushu myself. I said, look, I think you can get the fight with Angelo at this particular time. I told him, and listen, I love that fight, but I think Shushu's people and Top Rank, they're gonna go ahead and they're gonna they can go the WBC route or WBO route. I think we get Espinoza versus Shushu before we get Angelo versus Shushu, because we know Shushu's big. We know the IBF has the second day weigh-in, and that's not something I think he wants to go through if he doesn't have to. He could fight Espinoza. That's a big fight. A lot of people think Espinoza's the best featherweight. He beats him. Now he's looked at it in a different light. Or he can fight for the vacant WBC title, which inevitably Stephen Fulton is going to vacate, and that could be a great fight for him there with Carlos Castro or Ray Vargas. He wins that fight. I think if Shushu and Angelo fight, I don't think it'll be just for the IBF title. I think it'll be like WBC, IBF, or WBC unification fight. I think that's the scenario where you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna get those particular fights. But guys, I think we might have the champion. I'll tell you guys in a second. Let me see. Oh, Miguel. Okay, Miguel's here. Is Angelo coming?
Yeah, he's coming.
He's coming.
He's getting ready.
Yeah. So you know what? I'll have Miguel. Miguel can come on first since we got Miguel here. While waiting for Angelo. So look, we got one of the best trainers in boxing and definitely one of my closest friends in this world, my boy Miguel Leo, the mastermind. The camera's right there, Miguel. So lot to talk about, Miguel. A lot to discuss. A lot of people, I'm sure, are gonna have some great questions for you guys and whatnot. But make sure you guys show your appreciation for this man right here, because been in boxing for 20 plus years, right?
Right.
All over LA, Wild Card Gym, Vegas, New Mexico, Japan now. I mean, so it's been a lifetime. Like, people don't see that part. They can see you guys when you get to that high level, but they don't see all the sacrifices you guys made to get to that level.
Yeah, it's been a long road, that's for sure.
Yeah, a long, tough road.
Long, tough road, yeah.
So I was happy because I know for a while I've wanted Angelo to get a title defense in, and he finally got a title defense in. How does it feel now that you guys have defended the title? Like, does it solidify you now, you think?
I think it does. I mean, to come out here to Japan and defend your title in another country, especially Japan, it's very difficult out here. It's quite an experience. Dealing with the commission and a lot of obstacles. The time change, the food.
Yeah,
just a lot of obstacles to go through.
You mentioned the Japanese box commission. One of the Japanese viewers in the chat said that there was an article on Yahoo Japan that said that there was an issue in the locker room with Kameda's raps. I know you had mentioned that to me. And it's out there in the media apparently in Japan. So
yes. It was the issue wasn't so much with the raps. It was that there were other of his team members tampering with the gloves. With the fight gloves, which they should have not even touched at all, and I walked in the room and I saw his team members with their hands in the gloves, punching the gloves and trying to flatten the gloves, old tactics, old, veteran tricks, and I think what really got us upset was that the commission was right there when all this was happening. Mm-hmm. And the commission should have put a stop to it, and they didn't. They just let it happen, and there was a big argument about it. Tomoki's dad was very upset. Yeah, that's really what happened in there.
Okay. So for people who don't understand why that's a big deal, like you said, they were touching, they were tampering with the gloves.
Yeah,
breaking them in before you're supposed to.
Breaking them in, and it's just. You can't be doing that kind of stuff. I didn't know what they were doing to the gloves. I didn't know if they were taking anything out of the gloves, any padding or anything like that. So yeah, I made a big deal about it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that was one issue. I was right there when the hands were being wrapped. I didn't like the way the tape was being put. Mm-hmm. I mean, I understand that the way of wrapping is different over here. They do what's called stacking, and mm-hmm. And that's fine, but when you try to put the tape on the knuckles, then I'm going to have an issue with it. And I brought it up to them, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So, yeah, little things like that, actually, it wasn't just one thing. It was quite a bit of things, that when with,
can I name them?
With the hand wraps, yeah.
Yeah, like I know one issue we had in the dressing room was the walk-in times. So, like, for example, so we got there at what time? Like, what was it, like? Three.
2.
We got there at 2.
2 something.
2 something. We were initially told that we were going to walk out at, I think it was 5 o'clock, right? And then they kept changing the time on us. So they told us 5 o'clock, then they told us 5:15, then they told us 5:30, then it was 5:15 again, then they told us we got to move to another area by 5:15. So then there was that.
A lot of confusion, a lot of confusion, and I think it's geared to messing with the fighter, try to getting him off the game plan alongside with the team. They want to try to get you off of your game plan. But that wasn't gonna work with me. You know what I mean? I've already been there and
did it.
I know all the tricks that they can do.
Yeah. How do you feel like I guess like this whole experience, right? How do you think it's helped you as a coach and also develop Angelo as a champion?
I think it's helped me out as a coach. I learned a lot, coming out here to Japan. I see the way the commission works. I see the way everything works down here. It's a lot different from the States. You know what I mean? I love Japan. I love the people. The Japanese Commission, that's a little something else, you know, to deal with those kind of people. It's kind of, you know, it's different and difficult, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So I suggest anybody coming out to Japan to, you know, fight out here, just be prepared. Be prepared for.
Come early too.
Yeah, come early,
because they're not gonna do it for you.
Yeah, and then another obstacle that we had to face that was getting the license to be able to fight out here. You know, that we weren't aware of. Nobody told us that. And
didn't you guys have to go to the embassy like a couple days before you flew out?
Yeah, I had to fly Angelo out to the embassy in San Francisco. Submit all his paperwork and then go back. I believe it was maybe 3 or 4 days later and pick it up. So yeah, it can get really difficult.
Yeah, it gets very difficult. We got a super chat from my boy MAW. He says, hello, boxing fans, BT in chat. Angelo Leo, Team Leo, got to do what's best for Leo. Fighting in Japan builds familiarity with the Japanese fans. Yeah, it has. You guys been getting stopped a lot. Like last night, I went to the Glico sign, the running man sign on Osaka, and before Angelo even took out the belt, there were people that were recognizing him.
Right, and everybody wanted to take pictures with them. I mean, like I said, the Japanese people are very supportive, very, very good people out here. We love Japan. I love Japan. It's really nice out here, and I definitely will come back for a vacation.
For vacation. You said vacation only, right? So I know the big fight obviously is with the monster. Naoya Inoue. Everybody around these weight classes wants that fight. Ideally, like, would you come back to Japan?
We would welcome that fight with Inoue, in the States.
In the States.
Or
anywhere else.
Or anywhere else on neutral grounds, because if he feels that, it would be a, how do you say it? Contradictive.
Yeah.
That we fight in
the States.
In the States, you know what I mean? Because we could do it in any other country. You know what I mean? There's a lot of other countries that we can do it in. Neutral grounds. I believe would be perfect. This way, it solidifies. That he's able to go and he's been over here to the States. But has he fought somebody at a top level like Angelo? Honestly, he's fought really good fighters, but I don't think he's fought anybody at the level of Angelo. So
okay, well, I'll play devil's advocate here. People may hear that and say, well, he fought Stephen Fulton and beat him, and he was victorious against you guys. So what would you say to that?
He did fight Stephen Fulton and he beat him, but he did it in Japan. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not taking nothing away from Inoue. He's a pound for pound fighter for a reason. You know what I mean? I just feel like in order for us to get a fair shake, it'd probably be on neutral grounds.
Okay, for sure. I know that like, because a lot of the questions I'm getting are about you guys unifying, right? And a lot of boxing fans are getting frustrated about there being no unification fights in the featherweight division. They feel like these guys, Angelo, Espinoza, Ball, Fulton, they need to all earn the right to get the Inoue fight, because you're getting a big payday. Right. You're getting a chance at legacy. Why should you guys just get the fights, right?
I agree. I mean, we're open to. I would like the Espinoza fight. I mean, I think that would be a great fight. They're both, Espinoza, the top ranked fighter. Angelo right now is co-promoted with Top Rank. I think that's a very, very good fight to make. You know what I mean? It makes sense, and I'm with the people on that. I feel like we should unify before.
I know Stephen Fulton. I think Angelo called you.
Yeah.
You think he's outside?
I'm not sure.
All right. Go call Angelo. Okay. I think Angelo might be here, guys. But yeah, so you guys got some insight there from Miguel, just on some of the things that happened in the back. Again, like I'm with Miguel. Like, I've been to Japan many times just to visit. This is my first real time, like, kind of being behind the scenes and seeing how the boxing commission really works. I'm telling you, it's a lot to deal with. I'm really curious. I'm even more curious now about this Brian Norman Jin fight, how Brian Norman deals with it, because it's different. The Japanese commission is very smart. They're gonna do everything they can to mentally drain you before you get in the ring. And that's what I feel was done to us. But we still won because we know how to win.
Where's the key at?
The key? What? Which my key? Hold on, guys. Hold on. It should be right here. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So Angelo will be down here soon, but I hope you guys enjoyed Miguel while he was here. He said Miguel is wilding and talking about fighting Inoue outside Japan. That's a bit of an overstep. Why? Why is it an overstep? Inoue just fought Cardenas in Vegas. Why can't he fight Angelo? Not necessarily in America, but why can't he fight him somewhere outside of Japan? You know, I'm gonna tell you this: we're gonna get them belts. So don't think that Inoue is only gonna fight for one belt by the time he fights Angelo. We're gonna have like 2 or 3 belts by the time. It's gonna wind up being the biggest featherweight in the fight in the featherweight division because I'm gonna keep talking about it. We're gonna keep winning, and you guys are gonna have to keep hearing about all the great things happening at Team Leo. And I hope some of you guys stop being so angry and stop being like haters. Like, you don't gotta be that way. Join the bandwagon. I'm not against bandwagon fans. Join, man. And listen, you can like Inoue, you can like us, but I'm just saying, just support, man. We really love boxing, and we're definitely for the fans. Like, you guys tell me, when did Rafael, not Espinosa, but when have you seen a world champion go out to a landmarks in another country and take pictures with the fans because he wanted to? Nah, Angelo did that because that's how Angelo is. He loves boxing. He loves the fans. He appreciates you guys. Fair shake or not, Leo doesn't have the power to compete with Inoue. You really think that? Okay. You at featherweight? Okay. All right. Because Inoue is the A side, he is the star in Japan. It makes 0 sense. Let's be honest. Inoue fought in America because Eric gave him a cry payday. Well, then Bob better bring Bob or whoever better bring the checkbook out because, like, I know he is the A side and he is the attraction, but we're not gonna get treated like unfairly. That's not gonna happen. So, you heard whatever he said. Listen, that's the chief right there. So, whatever he says, that's what Angelo does, and that's what it is. Johnny says facts. When we win, I better hear y'all put my boy in the Hall of Fame. Exactly. He's got some really good wins now, but if you just add Inoue to it, I better start hearing Hall of Fame talk. Better start. Oh, all right, guys. This is what y'all came for. I'm gonna give y'all what y'all came for because the champ is here. The champ is here.
Sit down.
Sit down. Yeah, sit down. Y'all asked for him. He's here. On True School Sports, my main man, 50 grand. And still, how you feel, Angelo?
I feel good. I feel exceptional.
Yep. There you go. He's taking my lines now. I like this.
I'm learning well.
But listen, guys, get your questions in because I know you guys always have a lot to say. Even when I'm not talking about Angelo, I could be talking about European cruiserweights, and they say Angelo this, Angelo that when I start going live. Yeah. So now he's here. You got him here. I'll ask some questions, Angelo, before they do. I guess now that you've had 48 hours now to process things?
Yeah.
A little under 48 hours. Yeah. What's your overall take of the Japan fight experience, like the obstacles you had to overcome? Like, what do you feel was the biggest thing you had to overcome out here?
Just I think getting used to the time, mainly. That was a big factor, considering I'm training really hard. I'm going through really grueling training, and you got to find the time to rest when you're in a whole different time zone. We're 15 hours ahead of Vegas, so that's an important factor right there. Just getting the rest. Other than that, just adjusting and everything. Adjusting everything. The good thing is I had a great team behind me to help with everything, help with the logistics, and making sure everything went smoothly. And I just focus on my training. But other than that, it's been a great experience out here in Japan. I really love it out here. The fans have been, some of the best fans I've ever witnessed. And, I've gotten a really good reception out here with the fans and all that. So I'm really, really proud of that. Really honored for that.
Yeah, I'm happy for you, man, because I've seen the ups and downs of your career more than most, and it makes me happy to see you get the attention I feel you deserve. Because I see how hard you work. You work fucking hard, harder than any fighter I know. So I'm happy about that. As far as the Kameda fight, what was the experience like with him in the ring? And when you were in the ring, did you feel the fight was as close as it was on the cards?
No, I thought I was outpointing him with the jab. I thought boxing him really well. It was one of those fights where as long as I boxed, stuck with my jab, the fight was gonna be easy, And besides the crowd and all that, it's in his hometown, so of course, you're gonna hear a lot of hoopla from the crowd and all that every time he throws a punch. You don't even have to hit me. He can hit on the glove, he can miss, and they're still gonna go oohs and not. You're gonna hear the oohs and ahs. But I thought I won. Rewatched the fight. Um, I had it 9-3. Winning majority of the rounds. The only thing is the some of the rounds were close, but ultimately I thought I won the round.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I could see why people say the fight was close, just because the rounds were close. But ultimately, if you sit back and look at the round closely, you see that I win every round.
Yeah, you won a lot of rounds. I watched last night. I had it 9-3. When I was there, I scored an 8-4.
Yeah.
But I was like, I kind of used, shout out to Johnny. I used Johnny's rule that where you're down 2 points already.
Yeah.
So
Did you forget about the rule about the betting favorite?
Oh, that.
We're not talking about that.
All right. Anyway, we'll talk about that. But as far as the like Kameda when he was in there, what did he do? What would you say he did to I guess prevent himself from getting knocked out? Because it seemed like from the outside, like he was breaking your rhythm, tying you up a lot, doing all the veteran tactics. What do you feel?
No, I thought I was doing this exact same thing too. I thought I was, boxing him. When he tried to come in, I would smother him and tie him up. Or I think he was getting tired. I think the movement, he was getting frustrated. And ultimately, by the second half of the fight, he was getting tired, so he started to hold a little bit more. But he's a veteran in there, no doubt. His defense was on point, as you could see. So I had to make some adjustments and figure out ways to land my shots. But other than that, he's a veteran. I can't take anything away from him. He tried his best to become a world champion once again, and he came up short.
How was he different from like when you guys sparred? What was different about him in the ring than when you sparred?
I'd say maybe it could have been the power. He was a little bit more stronger than I expected in sparring. Of course, when you have a fight, you're fighting 8-ounce gloves, not 14 or 16-ounce gloves, so that could make a difference. But it was pretty much the same Kameda. Come forward, Mexican style, and it was pretty much the same thing that I expected, and we stuck to the game plan, and it worked out accordingly.
Okay. I know, like I'm reading the comments right now, and people are just like going nuts. They want me to ask you about it's obviously the big questions are going to be about the unification fights because everyone who like they know Inoue's coming up. They know like the Inoue fight is like fighting Canelo around these weight classes. You guys get legacy and money, a lot of money if you do fight him. So why should they asked me why should Angelo? What makes him? He has a belt. All guys have a belt.
Right.
How far do you think? I know you're not like in the business of making those fights, but like how far realistically do you think we are from those fights?
Oh, which fights? The
unification, any of the unification fights?
We're close. We're close. We're within the next year. They're gonna get them. So like, they're gonna get the fights. I'm one of those fighters that I'll fight anybody. I don't back down, and I don't duck nobody. And with me, they don't have to worry about that. They're gonna get the fights eventually. It could be either this year, next year, the following year, but as long as I'm fighting, you're gonna see me fight the best.
Correct. I know one fight that I know a lot of the fans want to see. I know. I definitely know your dad wants to see is that Stephen Fulton rematch unification fight. I know you want it too because there's a lot of history and just you want to eventually get your loss, right?
Yeah. The thing about that is I think Stephen Fulton is moving up to 130.
Yeah, he's so full disclosure. Stephen Fulton has already stated that he wants to go to 130, but he hasn't officially vacated the title. But as far as until he makes that announcement, it's still a fight that's in play.
Right.
So, what do you think about like now with this experience and just leveling up over the last couple of years? What do you think about the Fulton rematch, unification rematch?
That's a fight that makes sense. I have a belt. He has a belt. We have some history, like you said, and I'm a different fighter from back then, you know. And if you really take a look at my career, you could see that. You could see that I've improved a lot, and you know, that one loss don't define me, you know, and I could come back. There's plenty of times where, you know, they rematch and the other guy wins. You know?
Right.
And I agree on that because he is a champion, but he still has to go through Ray Vargas to be the because Ray Vargas, according
champion in recess.
Yeah, he's a champion in recess.
Yeah, so
I mean, if that gets cleared up at 126 and he's the actual real champion, then let's do it.
Yeah, because
you know
I think the boxing fans would enjoy that fight because I mean, and that's all I'm getting comments about is Fulton. They want the Fulton fight. Fulton has his number. Fulton this, Fulton that. So I disagree with that.
Yeah.
I think, you know, it's a different fight now. I think I know you disagree with that.
Listen, man, that's been 5 years ago. You know.
Yeah.
People change. People improve. I'm not the same fighter, as you can see, you know.
And he wasn't able to make 122 anymore when he fought him. It was, you know, I clearly told, you know, that he wasn't able to make it. I wanted him at 126. They didn't want to. They wanted it at 22.
So yeah,
and it was, and I'm not talking about Stephen Fulton. I'm talking about the promotional company.
So Mayweather Promotions and those guys.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, because that to me, you know, when I look at like the landscape of American boxing, I feel like you and Stephen Fulton are two of the best American fighters there is. Any weight class, like just point blank period. You guys have put in a lot of work over the years, beat a lot of good fighters, given a lot of great performances. So I feel like you guys just run it back.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and it's great for the fans. Yeah, it'd be a great fight. You know, like last time we threw record-breaking numbers.
Punches.
Record-breaking punches. I think we ranked number 3 in the most punches thrown in the super bantamweight fight, I believe. Yeah, and so it makes for an exciting fight once again.
Yeah, it was like close to 2,000 punches combined.
Right.
Yeah, so. And then, you know, you got Rafael Espinoza. I personally feel like that's the fight to make at featherweight. Like
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that's the one right there that's going to let the people know who the real 126 or pound champion is.
Yeah, because like Espinoza, he's been knocking everybody out, and a lot of people feel like, you know, even though you're a very good fighter, they think he'll get you.
Yeah.
And I know there's plenty of people that think that you get him. So how do you envision that fight? Like you and Rafael?
Ultimately, with my hand raised, you know. I think it makes for an exciting fight. You know, him being a Mexican fighter, Mexican American. It makes for an exciting fight, and I just gotta, you know, when time comes, me and my team will create a game plan to have my hand raised in victory.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to get to some real specific questions from people because. Like this one guy right here, Henderson, he actually rates you pretty highly. He said he actually has you on his own pound for pound list as number 10.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he tells me on the lives. Tell Angelo he's number 10 pound for pound.
Okay.
But he says he'd like to see you fight Shushu. He said, BT, tell him to fight Shushu, please.
Okay.
Shushu Carrington.
Yeah, Shushu. You know, once he gets a belt, you know.
Because I don't think he's going your direction. I feel like he's gonna go another direction,
and that's fine. You know, whatever. You know, let him get a bout. And, you know, we'll welcome him too because, I mean, he deserves that shot. If he has a belt, he deserves that shot.
He's pretty close to one anyways.
Yeah, he's almost there.
That belt.
That's a great fight to make.
I think he's the next up for the WBO.
Yeah, he's number 1 WBO and I believe number 1 WBC. So he's right there. He's right there. And so, and Shushu watches this channel, so I'm going to cut this up. Shushu, you heard it. Get the belt, champ. And
that's it.
That'd be a great fight. You know, I feel like he does a great job of talking and marketing himself, and he's an exciting fighter from the mid range. You know, explosive puncher at times. So,
and he's a good guy. He's a
good guy. Genuinely a good guy. Like I like Shushu.
And he's, you know, it's nothing personal. You know what I mean? It's just business.
Yeah. I am Mexico wants to know from you, Angelo. I was wondering, what are your thoughts on Subaru Murata? I heard you sparred him before. If that's correct.
Yeah, we've done a lot of sparring actually. Me and Subaru. He's a good fighter. He works very hard, and he's on his way. You know, eventually he's gonna get a title shot. You know, in the next year or two as well.
Yeah. I know. He just fought probably maybe 10 days ago here in Japan. I know he won, so he's steadily being moved. Good fighter. Yeah, one of the many good fighters from Japan. Kyoto wants to know if you, because me and your dad had this discussion before you came about. They want to know how would you feel about fighting the monster in Japan.
that's a I want to fight the monster, but we have to figure that out when we
Time
cross that
comes.
bridge. Yeah,
When the time comes, yeah,
yeah,
because we went through a lot, with the commission, and I know people will say like, oh, it's an excuse. We won. We won the fight. Like you won the fight. So
again, like I said, I don't back down. I would love to fight in a way. He's one of the best fighters in the world, and that's what I'm in the sport to be. Is be the best.
Mhm.
So in order to do that, you got to fight the best, and he's the guy that's in my way.
Yeah, I agree. Is there anything that like I guess coming to Japan that boxing or non-boxing that kind of surprised you?
Mm, yeah, everything pretty
Everything.
much. I can't think of off tops, but the whole experience out here in Japan, it's a whole different world out here.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
food and
the food, everything's like smaller. Like the cars are smaller, the rooms are smaller, the portion sizes are smaller. It's just different.
yeah.
But nonetheless, it's a great country. It's filled with a lot of history, and I'm planning to come back here pretty soon in the next month or two.
Yeah, I know you told me.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Skywalker says Albuquerque wants you to fight back a home champ.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're
Go back to Burke.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna go back to Burke. We're gonna try pushing that venue out there. So hopefully I fight out there in my hometown once again.
That'd be great, man.
Yeah.
Because people that don't know, Albuquerque is a great fight town with a lot of great history.
And we wanted to get that. We wanted to fight in our next fight in Albuquerque, but we also had to get this mandatory out of the way. That's the way it works. It's a mandatory, so you got to do it.
Yeah. People are asking like, oh, why did he fight Tomoki
In Japan.
and stuff like that? Well, because the sanctioning bodies, they have these things called mandatories and voluntaries, and after I won the championship, you had to fight a mandatory. So
Tomoki was the mandatory.
And the IBF tends to be the most like consistent and strict when enforcing the mandatories.
Yeah.
So if you don't fight them, you can get stripped. And
Yeah.
you worked very hard to get that belt. Who the hell wants to lose it?
Right. So we honored that. Now we're out here in Japan, and then I have a new wrinkle in my resume, or wrinkle in my, how would you call it?
Yeah, you have
New
another
accolade.
a new just another notch under your belt
There you go.
as far as like
Yeah.
your big fight experience.
Right.
Because I feel like for me, my big takeaway from this is whether it's Inoue or Espinoza or maybe something at 130 one day, I think this is going to add to you fighting on the biggest stages.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is a fight where I'm out of my element. I'm not in my country. I'm across the world. In a different time zone and all that. So yeah, it just adds another notch to my belt, like you said.
Correct. Oh God. So we got a super chat. Slinky Brown says, would Angelo ever fight on PBC?
Would we ever fight on PBC? Why would he ask that question?
I don't know why I asked that question. I guess maybe because Fulton's a PBC, so maybe they feel like they had to get involved.
Yeah, tell him that it would probably only be for the PBC for a Fulton fight.
For Fulton, yeah, probably only for Fulton. Yeah. So there's that. Jeffrey the Pig wants to know. That's funny. Does Leo want to work with Kameda Promotions again after how much they delayed this bout?
As far as like a rematch,
maybe not the rematch. I don't know. He didn't specify. I do know that they Koki remember said that they're interested in Fernando and Joseph. So maybe in that regard, maybe with other fighters.
maybe we could do.
As far as working like with my team,
yeah.
We could do something like that.
Probably, yeah. It would all depend,
Yeah.
we would have to sit down and actually talk about all that stuff.
Yeah. To be honest, guys, the fight just ended, so there's a lot of things that we have to process and iron out. It's not easy to give you guys a correct answer because they still got to get to America.
Yeah.
But
when the smoke clears, then
But we're trying to like talk to you guys. Would you call yourself a complete fighter? I've seen you fight at all ranges beautifully.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I definitely would. And that's something a lot of people don't recognize is that I could box, I could fight on the inside, and I could do a lot of things in there. And this fight, I showed that I could box, use my jab, fight from the outside. other fights, you know, I've showed where I could fight on the inside and just, you know,
brawl and
be a dog in there.
I got that. I mean, I've seen. I really think the fight that, and I told you this before. One of the fights where I think he showed the most skills was actually the Eduardo Baez fight. I love the Eduardo Baez fight.
So, yeah.
He didn't get the knockout, but a lot of different things were shown in that fight.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a lot of things that people don't see is those little wrinkles in my game that if you pay close attention, you might be able to see them.
Correct. So I'm excited. Okay, Hyro, I know it's you. I'm trying to act like it's not you. I know it's you, champ. He's asking him. He said, "Would you fight Brandon Figueroa?"
Yeah,
I don't know why.
we would fight Brandon Figueroa. Brandon Figueroa has a title to him.
Yeah, Brandon Figueroa. I mean, look,
because when we wanted to fight Brandon Figueroa, PBC didn't want to make that fight. You know what I mean? And now that
they told you guys that we don't want to do the fight.
They steered us off in a different direction.
Okay, they had him go fight Neri or the other guys he was fighting at that time.
And,
okay.
So right now, you know, if Figueroa can get himself another bout, hey, let's do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know. He's fighting Joet Gonzalez, Brandon Figueroa.
Yeah.
So
July the 19th,
he might lose that fight because
that's a tough fight.
Joet performed well against Fernando. He beat K guy, who was a guy you were gonna fight.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the running for this fight.
Yeah.
So who knows? But they want to know: would you fight in Saudi Arabia?
Would I fight in Saudi?
Just all depends.
It all depends. It all depends.
Man.
It all depends on the money. But
pretty much. Yeah.
Look, I'll tell you guys this. Look. I can't speak for other featherweights, but I just know up top, as far as places you fought in: New Mexico, Atlanta, Florida, Vegas. Right? You fought in Vegas. Did you fight in LA?
I fought in LA.
Yeah, LA, Osaka, Japan. Okay, so Mexico.
Yeah.
Mexico.
So 3 countries, like 5 or 6 different cities in America. Houston, Texas. You know. Connecticut. I mean.
What is it?
Colorado. So we're no stranger to.
Listen, he's got his frequent flyer miles just off the charts. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah, of course I'd fight in Saudi.
If Saudi Arabia, listen, if it made sense, I'm sure they'd take it. You know. How can you handle the volume of a Nick Ball? I think he would beat you on points for late stoppage. No disrespect to you though, champ.
That's funny.
Just I throw a lot of punches as well. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
I throw a lot of punches as well. There's a lot more to it than just volume. You know.
How smart is Nick Ball? That's good.
There you go.
What's his IQ like?
So Miguel is countering you, Rocky, and he wants to know, how smart do you believe Nick Ball is? Do you think he's shown the boxing acumen to just win a fight with volume against someone like Angelo?
Could he make adjustments?
Can he make the adjustments?
Does he know how to box?
Yes.
Does he know? I mean, come on.
Raymond Ford, good fighter, but Raymond Ford took a long time to adjust.
At this level that I'm in, everyone's gonna come in shape.
Everyone's good.
Everyone's good. Everyone's powerful. Everyone's got speed. It's who's got this up here. Is what makes the difference.
Okay, yeah. Staying on the subject of Nick Ball, Hand History asked you, Angelo, why not push for the Nick Ball fight next to ruin the fight with him and Inoue? Basically, make Inoue fight Leo sooner. So they're saying pick Nick Ball off, get a belt, and then
if Nick Ball is willing to come down to New York, let's get it. Let's get it going.
Yeah, come down to New York. Miguel's saying come down to New York.
The U.S.
Let's do it in the U.S. I mean. He's a champion too. Why do we have to be going to other people's countries? Let them start coming over here to the U.S. And meeting up with us here. Yeah, I mean it works both ways.
I don't think Nick Ball's ever fought in the States. Huh?
Nick Ball, to my knowledge, has never fought in the States. Guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but Nick Ball, I don't, because the first time I seen him fight was against Isaac Lowe on Tyson Fury's undercards like 4 years ago. And from then on, I never seen him fight in the States. So I think he should try to come to the States.
Yeah. We could do it in Vegas too.
We do it in Vegas. We could do it in New York.
The Mecca boxing, yeah. I mean, I know the Brits love to travel. I'm sure there'll be plenty of scouts that would love to come to the Vegas and drink and cheer on their guy Nick Ball in a great fight against Angelo.
Yeah. It'd be a great event.
Another guy's name I'm seeing a lot in the comments because you just faced off with him in Vegas. Nikita Nakano, number 8 IBF Featherweight contender. You got any thoughts on that match?
Eventually, if He's number 8. You said.
He's number 8. They haven't updated it. He'll probably be in the top 5 when they update it.
Okay. Yeah. That's a fight that could definitely happen in the future.
Yeah, because he's probably to me the best Japanese featherweight right now. Like real.
We would invite anybody right now, but in the States, you know
In
what
the
I mean?
States, yeah.
Let's do it in the States. Anybody.
Yeah, because again, I'm gonna recite it again.
Mm-hmm.
Plant City, Colorado, New Mexico. Where else was?
Atlanta,
Texas,
Georgia,
Texas, Atlanta,
Connecticut.
been everywhere.
Florida.
At some point, I think Angelo should be afforded the chance. I'm not saying like just a chance to build himself up, or not build himself, but like fight in the States and have to travel out of the way so much. He's traveled. He proved like I know you guys say, oh, you want a fighter that will do anything it takes to prove he's a champion. This is it right here. Like I'm not saying this because he's my friend or I'm a part of the team. Like no, this is it right here.
When was the last time we fought in Vegas?
There you go. Let's do
go.
that one. Miguel and Angelo moved to Las Vegas in 2017.
Right.
When was the last time? You guys got box track. When was the last time Angelo and Miguel or Angelo Leo had to fight in Las Vegas?
And we live in Vegas.
We live in
And
Vegas.
they live right down the street.
Right down the street from the MGM.
Yeah. You see.
I'll tell you.
What was that?
2019.
2019. You fought who? Tapano?
Mark John, yeah.
Mark John, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mark John, yeah. That's the last time I fought in Vegas.
6 years.
6 years ago, yeah.
You think him being a world champion now, we deserve to fight
He's
in
been
Vegas.
a world champion 2 times and never had a chance to fight in Vegas since he's been a champion. So that's not right.
That's
And
not
I think
right.
he should. And I think Nick Paul, Espinoza, Shushu, all these fights you guys keep badgering me about every live, whether I'm talking about Angelo or not, these are the kind of fights that should be happening in Las Vegas.
Exactly.
You know?
And in those 6 years, I've accumulated so much fans out there in Vegas.
Mhm.
You know?
And I'm sure if you were to fight, like, let's say, any Japanese fighter,
Yeah.
you got Japanese fans now.
Yeah.
Rocky says that Nick Ball beat Ford, high IQ fighter. If that's not smart, then I don't know. Look, man. Oh, you can respond to that.
Nick Ball is a very good fighter. I'm not saying he's not a good fighter, but I just feel that he can't make the adjustments to beat Angelo. He's not smarter than Angelo.
No.
You know what I mean? To me, he's a one-dimensional fighter. He fights in one way, and that style that he fought Ford was the style that would beat Ford. And if you don't believe me, go back and look at the. I think it was a kid from actually New Mexico, Angel.
Oh, he's talking
Pedes.
about
I don't.
Aaron Perez.
Yeah, gave Ford. He had that same style, and he gave him. I think it was a draw, right?
Yep, that was when undercard was there. That was an undercard of.
So that's you know, they got to understand that styles make fights, and that style and that style was made to beat Ford.
Yeah. I love these comments. They said Nick Ball is not an issue, but Espinoza, you need to avoid him. Big scary Espinoza.
Ooh, we love that.
We love that fight.
Scared.
Please, we love that fight.
Shiver me Tim.
You got any thoughts, Jeremy Timbers? But man, right here says kickball is the weakest champion at 126. I don't want to put him down. You said that, not me, Chad. Oh, okay. Here's a more wholesome question. Angelo, I was wondering what age did you start boxing, and do you have any advice for people who want to start boxing?
I started boxing, I think, 8 years old.
Yeah.
And then he said, what advice would I give?
Yeah, what advice?
Oh, just train hard.
Just train hard, right?
Train hard, you know, and watch a lot of boxing.
You know, I'm glad you said that, right? Because I get around these fighters, they say, I don't watch boxing. You know, why would I watch boxing? I'm in the gym all the time. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I guess different strokes for different folks, but I mean, watching boxing, what's it gonna? It could only improve.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't see how it could, you know, harm your fight, your fighting game or anything like that. It could only improve, get ideas, and you learn more. You know, and as long as you're learning in the sport of boxing, you're growing, and you're growing, you're becoming better. So.
Okay.
That's what I say.
Cause I know you watch a lot of boxing. You watch like you guys don't know. Like if he was, I honestly feel that if Angelo was not a fighter, I'm not saying he would be a reporter, but he would be like doing something boxing related, like
probably
A commentator.
Like I think you might even do that after your career.
could be.
Maybe
Yeah.
could be
Possibly.
because he watches that much boxing. Like I can name a lot of fighters that a lot of our fighters don't know about, and Angelo will know about them.
Yeah.
So Yeah, like one
Even
time.
from like the 60s and 70s, I watched a lot of fighters from then.
You read a lot of books.
Books, yeah, I have a lot of books. I have boxing encyclopedias, ring magazines, stacked like this big of magazines. So yeah,
Yeah, from way back in the day when he was.
Yeah.
We still have
I
the
went out.
magazines from that got him into boxing. I still have them.
You still have them.
Yeah, they're in storage.
storage.
So like, I want y'all to understand this. Like, he's one of y'all. He's one of
Yeah.
y'all. Like the other guys.
And I went out my way one time to go online and I ordered a ring magazine from May 1994, which was the month I was born. And the year
just
I was
because.
born. Yeah,
Just because.
yeah. Hey, and surprisingly, coincidentally,
Yeah.
the new face. You know how ring magazine has like a new face.
The new face, like
Yeah.
the guy that's coming up.
Guess who it was?
Johnny Tapia.
Daniel Romero.
Oh,
Yeah.
so that's significant.
Yeah.
So for those that don't understand the significance of what he just said, Angelo bought a ring magazine from the month and the year he was born, and in ring magazine they used to have this segment called New Faces, which would basically be like, you know,
Prospects,
the prospects,
somebody coming up,
somebody
someone
coming
to look after.
and the guy from the issue that was you know, the new face was Danny Romero, who was the fighter of your other coach Luis Chavez, and so
Yeah,
it all comes full circle.
yep.
Yeah. They ask Leo, who are some of the boxers you admire growing up? Was it Johnny Tapia, Danny Romero, or was it other boxers as well?
Yeah, those two for sure, because they're from my hometown, and they brought a lot of inspiration to me, knowing that those fighters could they came from the same city as I did, and they made it.
Mhm.
But the real one that really got me into boxing, I have to say Oscar De La Hoya. Yeah.
Fun fact. So your fight trunks and your roll from this fight, it was inspired by Oscar De La Hoya. Which
Yeah.
fight was it again?
De La Hoya versus Kamau.
Kamau versus Kamau. So
Yeah, Kamau.
even to this day, you're still
So
paying
if you-
homage.
Yeah. If you look at that fight, you'll see that I have the navy robe on. He has a navy robe on. I have the blue trunks on, and he has the blue trunks on as well.
Okay. Shout out to the Golden Boy.
Yeah.
Hyro says, "Are we going to forget that Ball fought 122 pounders twice?" So I think he's alluding to the fact that, you know, as a champion, first defense against Ronnie Rios, 22 pounder, and then the last fight was against I forgot who
what's his
was.
name? Doheny?
Doheny.
Yeah.
Doheny, yeah. So 2 122 pounders. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not.
Yeah.
Espinoza fought Robesi in the rematch. That was a good one for the second defense. But in between the Robesi rematch, you know, was Sergio Trino Sanchez, and then he fought Vasquez, who's a good fighter. I like Vasquez.
Yeah.
But Vasquez is a 130 pounder they brought down, not even a massive puncher at 30. So,
Yeah.
that's how I feel. That's a funny question. If Fulton becomes a champ at 130, would you rather fight Fulton to become a 3-weight division champ in your revenge fight, or fight with Inoue at 126? That's a good question.
That is a good question.
Because those are both great fights.
I think it would come down to how long it's gonna take in a way to go up to 126, and where Angelo feels with his weight. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a timing thing. That's really a timing thing.
It's more of a
That
timing.
really is. Yeah, that really is.
Because we know that the one that does the most for your legacy is the Inoue fight, as it is for anybody in the
Oh,
these
for
weights.
sure, yeah.
But there's also just, you know, as
So
that
personally-
pride as a man, you know.
And legacy, I think being a 3-weight division champion, that's a big thing in itself.
And avenging your only loss.
Yeah.
You know,
So
like Lennox Lewis, one of the reasons why he's considered the greatest heavyweight by some people is that, you know, his knockout losses to McCall and Hasim Rahman, he avenged them both back in devastating fashion.
Yeah.
So nobody that ever stepped in the ring with Lennox Lewis could ever say they got one over him. He beat every man that ever was in the ring with him.
Damn.
Yeah, even if he's not undefeated, you know.
Yeah. Still, that speaks volumes right there.
So yeah. Let's see where we at right now. We got like 10 more minutes or no?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. We'll go 10 more minutes. I know Angelo, you know, he's tired, he's sore, you know, hungry, but he's coming here, and I really appreciate him so much because, you know, it's been a lot of years. I remember a while ago, around that time when you were on Friday, I remember I went to the Fulton Figueroa fight as a fan, and I left you and Johnny. You guys did the live. You guys did a whole live for Cambosis Lopez.
Yeah.
So he's part of the history of True School. Like,
yeah.
this is. But thank you for taking the time, Angelo.
Of course.
Get your question, guys. 10 more minutes, and then I'm gonna get him out of here. They want to. My man Haki says right here. He's from Malaysia. He says, "Hi Leo, who is the best Japan Japanese boxer currently not named Inoue, and why?
The best Japanese current boxer.
That's not Naoya Inoue.
Probably Nakatani.
Nakatani?
Yeah.
Nakatani's doing big things right now, knocking everybody out.
Nakatani.
Devastating fashion. Yeah, sure. I'm a Kenshiro guy, as you know.
Yeah,
But,
Kenshiro,
but yeah. See who else? I know I missed a couple comments. Oh, shout out to Skywalker Boxing Media. He says my uncle was Bobby Chacon, the former featherweight champion. He got to meet Enzo when he was a kid at tournaments. Enzo got a lot of wisdom compared to these other featherweight champions. You remember meeting Bobby Chacon, the legendary champion?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I do.
It was at a tournament.
You were there?
Yeah.
You were there?
It was an outside event in San Bernardino.
Yeah, it was out there in California.
San Bernardino.
And
Shane Mosley was there too. I met Shane Mosley there. But yeah, I remember Bobby Chacon.
yeah,
He's a great guy, great guy too.
Yeah, and a lot of people wouldn't. A lot of kids, you know,
they wouldn't even know.
They wouldn't even know who he was. But see, I was always watching boxing, so I remember the fights. I remember watching Bobby Chacon and Cornelius Boza Edwards.
Ooh, okay. Did you? So when you saw him, like you knew immediately that that's Bobby Chacon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, it's Bobby Chacon right there.
I'll tell you right now, there's not a lot of fighters today that would know who that is.
Yeah.
So the fact that he knows, this guy's a real boxing guy. I mean, I know we watch a lot of boxing when we hang out and stuff. Like I know at one time we had the funny line where we said, those Clarence Bones Adams fights aren't going to watch themselves. we watch because we know Bones Adams, you know, former contender back in the day. He has a gym now in Vegas, Angelo Leo.
Wasn't he a champion?
He was a champion, yeah. He had some good fights, you know. We
WBA champion, right?
Yeah. Let me see. There was a fighter called Raymond Poon Kai Ching, which he was fighting in your undercard against Kameda. Do you have any thoughts of him? I didn't watch that fight.
I didn't watch.
No, we weren't at the.
We weren't there at the venue, but yeah. They want to know how long are you staying in Japan, and there's any locations you want to visit before you head back home?
Oh, we got till tomorrow.
Yeah,
we're staying here till tomorrow. Today I probably want to check out the Osaka Castle.
Yeah.
Get some time to check that out.
That'd be cool.
Real quick, and then I think there's so much to see out here in Japan.
That's why we have to come back.
Gotta come back, you know,
because this one was like, it was
business,
cool, but it was mainly business, you know.
We couldn't really enjoy it, you know what I mean?
You had to fight and you know all the stuff that go with the Kamedas.
Just a whole
but
bunch.
Nonetheless, though, you know, it was when we weren't training, it was cool, you know, just on the train and all that, just like the simple things.
That's crazy, like you know. I don't know if you saw. I took a clip of you on the train. You were on your phone. I'll show it to you. But like, I was thinking to myself, like, how many world champions are just taking the train like in Japan? Like,
it was fun. It was kind of a reminder when we lived in LA and taking all the red line and all that under the subway. It was cool, man. It's, you know, takes you back and lets you remember where you come from.
Where you came from, yeah. For me, it was like extra. I told you, I said this many times amongst ourselves, but it was like extra surreal for me to have you guys here because I've been to Japan twice and I'm like the Japanese boxing guy in America. Yeah. So it's like to have you guys, and then now I'm in Japan. I'm seeing you in like these Obima TV commercials that I see for other fights. Yeah. Like I'm like, this is insane. Yeah. For me, it was like,
this is crazy.
I still can't believe it. Like
4 years ago, I wouldn't even think like I'd be fighting out here in Japan.
In Japan, yeah. I never thought I would come to Japan once, let alone come here to the point where it's like
my friends fighting
out here, and you know, like I know people here. It's crazy. It's like it's madness. They said congrats, Leo from Houston, Texas. Got Houston in the building. Okay.
Yeah, shout out to Houston, Texas.
We love Houston, Texas. Jeffrey says, what is your favorite boxing fight? Do you prefer chess matches or wars? That's a good question.
I like both. There's a few fights where you're able to see both, but you know, I like both. Yeah. It just depends on the mood. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes my Mexican genes, they flare up, so I want a full on war. Yeah. You get the hot red-blooded Mexican genes. So I want to see a Barrera Morales fight. Mm-hmm. I know your dad used to always tell me, he eloquently would tell me, like, BT, when you do things, do them con huevos. So, yeah. So sometimes that happens in the ring. It comes out in the ring. Yeah, I like them both. Okay. What do you think about, they want to know, what do you think about Kenshiro Terashi, BT's favorite Japanese fighter? To be honest, I haven't watched enough of him. Yeah, you have to watch enough of him to have that opinion. But is he the one that has a good straight right hand?
Yeah, he's the one that has a little bit straight.
The
I
amazing
remember
boy?
one time the amazing. I remember we were watching.
You
You
watched
said
him in camp,
you
right?
said you said he's really light. One time you're like he's really light.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
He bounces in a lot. He throws the right
Yeah.
hand. He's like really aggressive.
Yeah, he's good. He's good, but I gotta watch a little bit more of him.
Yeah, he's. I think right now he's the number 9 pound for pound on Ring Magazine.
Damn.
Yeah, really good fighter. Leo, since you mentioned Junto earlier in the question, skill wise, who do you think would be a more difficult opponent for you, Inoue or Junto? That's a good question.
I'd have to say probably Inoue. Yeah, probably Inoue.
Okay, Inoue. Why Inoue?
Probably because he got a little bit more speed, I guess.
The speed, the
Yeah.
ability,
and maybe more experience.
experience, a lot more experience.
Yeah, he's coming down from a lower weight, so he's got a lot of speed with him. And yeah, I just think that in the experience. But Junto, that'd be a tough fight as well. But I got a good team, so we could all
Make
carry a game
adjustments.
plan.
Yeah, no, we got
Just like I told Tomoki, the press, when they asked me, what's your game plan? I told him I was going to make the adjustments.
yeah adjustments. Yeah, if you follow the build up, the word that Miguel used, the word of the week was adjustments, and the word I think for every fight week will always be adjustments.
Because what did Floyd Mayweather say? A true champion can always adjust.
A true champion can adjust to any situation. I know, like, even though you're not with Floyd, I know that time is still imprinted in you. That time in the gym.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
of course, you always learn, and you take.
That's part of my career. That's like that defines a period of time where I learned so much over at the Mayweather boxing gym, and you could see that in some of my fights. You could see little glimpses of Floyd. You could see like the work ethic I got is from Floyd as well. You could see glimpses of De La Hoya. You could see glimpses of Manny Pacquiao,
Roman Gonzalez. I know your dad likes a lot.
Chocolatito, Chavez, Julio Cesar Chavez. So I get a little bit of everything from different fighters, and I just shake it up and mix it up and shake it up, and there you go. You got my style.
Yeah, there was a comment a little further up. They said that you have the most wisdom of all the featherweight champions.
Yeah.
Because you know what? I'll tell you, for those that don't know, I mean, you spent a lot of time at Mayweather's gym, right? But I know you guys had some time out in LA when you were a kid.
Yeah.
So you spent a lot of time at Wild Card with Freddie Roach, and you were around Manny Pacquiao.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how many fighters had time with
We were
Pacquiao?
around Manny Pacquiao, Amir Khan. We were around
Benavidez.
Benavidez,
Yep.
all the Benavidez.
I even did mitts with Jose Benavidez one time.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was helping me out for a little bit.
Yeah, so you got
For
some
like a day or two.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you got some deep roots.
Yeah.
Yeah, the roots go deep.
Some history.
You know what? There is even some fighters that people that are so irrelevant now that people probably have heard the names of years that you sparred. Like I know, like one of them is like Zhao Schming.
Or Giovanni Segura.
Giovanni Segura. You guys remember Giovanni Segura, Zhao Schming? He sparred these guys.
Flyweight champion, right?
Yeah, Leo Santa
Cruz.
I remember I took off school to go spar Giovanni Segura.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's how you know. That's how you know he was meant to fight. He took off school to go spar Giovanni Segura.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
He got an absence.
Yeah.
Just to go spar.
Yeah. And you okay with that? Like
at the Azteca gym. Yeah.
At the Azteca gym.
Wow,
the infamous Azteca gym.
Okay. All right. So we'll do 2 more questions, then we'll get you out of here. They said, "Do you know Chop Gonzalez, and would you fight him later down the line?"
Yeah.
Albert Chop Gonzalez.
Yeah. I know who he is. He fought on undercard.
Yeah.
He fought on undercard out there in Albuquerque.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Bernardo.
Yeah. So, that's one down the line. He's making his way up the rankings, and that's eventually one.
Good fighter, and he's got a very renowned trainer, Robert Garcia. I'm sure Miguel would love the opportunity to match, with Robert Garcia as a coach because he's produced a lot of world champions.
Yeah, Robert Garcia is a legend. You know what I mean? He's a great trainer.
Yeah, so hopefully it can happen at some point. Okay, that's the last one. We'll get you out of here, and it's a good one. On the right note, Leo, what is your favorite Oscar De La Hoya fight? I love the fight with I Corte.
My favorite Oscar De La Hoya fight. Which one would you have to be?
It's a lot to choose from. He fought a lot.
He fought a lot. He fought Tito
Tito
Trinidad.
Trinidad. He fought Fernando Vargas.
He was on fire there for a little bit, you know, without fighting all the best of the best.
Arturo Gotti one was good.
That
was a good one.
Mayorga.
Mayorga, yeah. He was a little older there. That was like in 2006.
Floyd.
He fought Floyd.
He fought Sugar Shane Mosley.
Relis. Raphael, was it Raphael Relis?
Relis,
yeah.
I'll be honest, I'll probably agree with him on that with
I Corte, that's the one?
I like that one.
Corte.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I Corte too.
And my favorite Oscar fight's a bit of a weird one. I like
Corte just because he got up off the canvas and he rallied strong in the later rounds. In the last round, I think too.
Pushed him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an all action fight. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. I think my favorite Oscar fight. I just really liked his performance against Obakar. Yeah, like I felt like he blended his boxing skills.
From Detroit.
Yeah,
he was.
Detroit, a slick fighter.
Yeah.
And, you know, Oscar.
I was actually watching that one in Santa Fe.
Recently?
Yeah.
So that was.
I wasn't really paying attention though, but I remember putting it on and kind of got distracted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happens in camp. But on that note, look, I'm gonna let you go, Angelo. Any final message you want to give to the boxing fans about just the time in Japan, future fighters, or just anything on in your heart or your spirit you want to get out there?
Nah, not really.
I think pretty much said what you needed to say, right?
Yeah.
So there he is, and still the IBF Featherweight champion, great fighter, and we look forward to give you guys more great fights and memorable nights, and we'll talk about it here on True School Sports.
Yeah, thank you for having us, BT, and we look forward in being on your next live or one of your lives
when you come back.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Shout out to all my fans, everyone that tuned into my last fight. I know you guys woke up pretty early, or they stayed up really early, so I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me, and just tune into my next one. Hopefully it's in Vegas or Albuquerque. We're gonna push for it, but just tune in.
Just tune in.
It goes up from here. That's it.
It goes up, and maybe one of these days, Angelo will have to interview me.
Yeah,
I talked about you. I was like, you got to interview me one day. Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right. I'll see
See
you guys in a bit.
All right.
See you guys in a bit. I'm gonna hang around for maybe 20 more minutes, guys. If y'all want to talk to me. In fact, Fern, come over here. Look, we're gonna get Fern over.
Yeah, we gotta get Fern on there.
We're gonna get Fern. Listen.
Joe.
Y'all gotta know who's listening. So look, I'm gonna show, I want you guys to look at. Hold on. I'll make a banner just for you. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Fernando. Is it Paredes? Okay, we'll say 4-0. 4-0.
Yeah, 4-0.
4-0. 3 KOs. It says 3-1 on boxer, but that's not the right record. They're missing a fight.
Yeah, I missed a fight, man.
All right, so look, we're gonna go live with one of the guys that helped Angelo sharpen the blade. Right, this is Fernando Pedes. We have a lot of good fighters. Or Miguel has a lot of good fighters in camp. Fernando, you're one of them.
Yes.
So, describe, I guess, best you can, training camp. What's this experience been like for you? Because you're 20 years old and you're in Japan. I didn't come to Japan until I was 28, so I feel like you're getting spoiled. But talk about all that.
No, well, first of all, it's been a blessing, meeting the right people. I'm thankful that I met Miguel, Angelo, Brendan. Overall, it's been hard, man. It's been a hard camp. We started out in Albuquerque in the high altitude, and so if people don't know how it is, it's like you're breathing out a straw. Especially when you're training, man. It's crazy out there, man. There's a couple of times where I felt like, damn, I'm gonna stop, but eventually, you're thinking of who you're doing it for, and eventually, that all of this hard work eventually pays off. So it was good though. It was a good experience. My first time in a world champion camp. My first time in the camp overall, and it's a great experience, man. And now I know what it takes to be a champion, and right now I'm just starting my career. So hopefully later on in years, I become one of my own, a champion.
Yeah, and you will. People really need to look out for Fernie, because Fernie is a great fighter, dedicated, and if he keeps doing what he's doing, there's no doubt in my mind he's gonna be a world champion.
Champion. And look, you guys like exciting, athletic fighters. This guy, I didn't believe him at first. I didn't believe him because he he had mentioned about something about being athletic. I'm like, are you sure you're athletic? He's like, yeah, I'm athletic. And then I was like, okay, fighters say things all the time. You know, fighters like to bullshit me all the time. So I went there. We got here to Tokyo. I seen you spar. You were sparring this Japanese guy out there in Tokyo, and he just did like things I don't see fighters do a lot. Like you're shifting backwards. You naturally can fight out of both stances. You throw combinations. Like, where does this style come from?
Well, I just like to mix it up. Like Angelo said, you get a little bit from here, you get a little bit from there, and you just make up your own style. And I watch a lot of boots, a lot of Jaron Ennis boots.
Yeah, I could tell that because I'm like, bro, you doing this Mexican Jaron Ennis shit, like you doing the switch hitting. I'm like, I felt like I should have given you some yen to watch you spar. I can't say that about I'm serious. I had a lot of fun watching you spar.
That was good.
Everybody really liked him out here. All the Japanese, trainers.
Even Jin liked him.
Jin Sasaki. So we were at Jin's gym and Jin. So I'll tell you guys this story. Here's a true school sports exclusive. So he was sparring one day. He had did like, was it 6 rounds or
5 rounds,
5 rounds with one of the Japanese guys down at the gym. And Jin Tazaki's like jump rope, Jin's training for his big fight Brian Noman. So he's watching this kid. Jin is watching Fernando. And Jin, what did Jin say to you after you got out the ring?
Yeah, so it was right when we were gonna leave. I had packed up my stuff. We're ready to go, and I said bye to everybody. I said bye, and he was doing mitts, man, and he came up to me when I said bye to everybody. He's like, I like your sparring, man. You got potential. You could do it. Just keep going. And he said it like in English, like.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have great English, but what he could say, he said,
like, you have potential and just keep going. And I was like, damn, like that kind of like just like, all right, I opened my mind, like, all right, I just gotta keep going, just gotta keep doing what I'm doing, and just keep working hard. That's it. That's all it is.
They want to know your weight class.
Well, recently I fought at 126, but maybe just go up to 130. I'm a big guy, so hopefully 130 is where it's at, and hopefully just as long as I can keep making the weight, I'll be fighting in that weight class.
Yeah, and then like the team is crazy because like I know Miguel's done a great job at Angelo Leo building up from the ground up along with Luis Chavez, but I mean now he's gonna go start putting your imprint on other fighters now. Like Fern is one of them, Fernando, Joseph Maicedo, Eric Lanzas Jr. and all kinds of fighters. So listen, guys, just watch out for him. They said Fernando at 126 looks heavier and taller than Leo. Yeah, it said Fernando looks heavier and taller than Leo.
Maybe just heavier, not taller.
Not taller. he's built like a fire hydrant. You guys ever seen a fire hydrant? Like it's real compact. That's kind of how he's built. They want to know. We kind of mentioned them. Are there any fighters that you look up to and learn from?
I never really had a role model like that. Like I said in boxing, but I have to look more into boxing. But I think I like Teofimo Lopez.
Mm-hmm.
I like his style.
Like an athletic fighter.
Athletic fighter,
Jerome Boots,
I like Angelo. Like everything just is badass. I feel like people in my own team. I feel like a lot of people are just or boxers or anybody that's an athlete. Everybody's so stuck up on hyping up the people outside of them, But I feel like people just gotta hype up the people around them,
Correct.
Because at the end of the day, like those superstars, those famous people don't really know who you are until you're in the team with them,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad I'm in a good team now, and I'm just looking forward to hype everybody up inside my circle.
This is a great question. They said, "Hi, Fernando. How did you start boxing, and how did you join boxing gyms, and how did you start training with the likes of Angelo Leo? How did that come about, actually? Because I have my own ideas, but I don't even fully know the story."
Well, I met Angelo Leo through one of my coaches. I guess they were looking for sparring one day out in California, and one of the coaches mentioned me, and we got it in, and I like the work, they like the work, and we just kept sparring, getting better within each other. And when I started boxing, I was around 10 years old. I was 10 years old, and I was a troublemaker in school. I had so much energy, and
you still do.
I still do. I'll get in trouble a lot, and so my mom and dad were just like, my mom especially was kind of like just tired of that, like trying to go pick me up at school, or like I'll just mess around too much, get kicked out of class, and my dad one day he's like, "Hey, you want to do soccer? Or you want to do boxing?" and I was never good at soccer, so I was like, might as well just do boxing, you know. And I did boxing. I just started
Sound
seeing
like
the
him.
progress, man.
Sound like yeah, because Miguel had him in soccer and karate.
Soccer,
Yeah.
I sucked at soccer, you know. So I started getting better at boxing. I started and I was like, boom, you know, and just the rest is
That's how it
history.
is in a Mexican household. It's either
Soccer
or
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 boxing.
boxing,
Yeah.
madrazos,
No,
or-
yeah, no other sports.
And so I'm the only guy in my family, you know. I have 3 sisters, and so I think that the mostly of that, you know, I was like, damn, what if one day I gotta like
Protect.
my mom, my dad, my sisters, or whoever, you know. And I have a lot of cousins that are girls too, you know. So I was like, you know, boxing
You're
it is.
the protector.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one of my cousins boxes actually. Shout out Daniel. And
Okay.
but you know, we'll mess around in the parties. We'll box each other, and I was like, damn, I think I go fuck somebody up maybe. You know? So I was like, fuck it, let's do boxing.
So 2 questions. The first one is, why does BoxRec say you have 1 draw, and what promotion are you under?
I'm not under no promotion right now, but my draw is because it was just a lot of stuff, you know, just if you guys want the fights on YouTube, and it was like, you know, respectfully, I beat the shit out of the guy. It was bad, you know, but I don't.
Mexico.
It's Mexico,
It's
you know.
Mexico, man.
That's what they do out there.
Shit happens.
crazy.
Shit happens.
He was the promoter fighter, so you know, I think that sums it up.
Yeah.
But it was a good fight. It was a good fight.
It was a good fight, and I'm telling y'all, like, look, man. I know people that watch me. Y'all watch a lot of pro box and, you know, prospect shows. You guys are gonna turn on a prospect show one day, and you're gonna see him fight, and he's gonna beat the brakes off someone in a very fun fashion, and you're gonna say, "Damn, I remember seeing him on True School Sports."
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Shout out True School. Shout out Brandon.
Yeah, man. So yeah, it's been. I'll say for me, I obviously, like, I know Joseph very well. I've been knowing Joseph myself, the other guy that was in camp.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been knowing him since 2017, going to Vegas. I've been knowing, you know, Eric Lances Jr. Me and him like this. Like one of my best friends. This is my first time meeting Fern. I probably met Fern like well, whenever, like the day before Inoue or the day of Inoue card. So what is that like? That was like what? Just over 3 weeks ago, 22 days ago. I've only known him for 22 days, but I feel like I've known him for 22 years.
It's crazy,
You know?
man.
So yeah, he's definitely. I think he's one of those guys that for the sport, he's gonna be really exciting and like he's fun to talk to. Like we go out to like the Clico sign, the running man sign. For those of you that know Japan, like the running man sign. We were out there last night. I've gone out there like 3 times with Fern. Last night we did as a team, but I've gone out there with just Fern, with Fern and Joseph, and Fern. It's hundreds of people. It's a really dense like area. And Fern's over there talking to this person, that person, just controlling the room. Like the guy, he's got charisma, you know, and that's what I like about Fern, you know.
Yeah, you know, it's that energy. Sometimes you gotta bring. You know, sometimes you never know who's having a bad day out there, and you know, you can at least bring the little positiveness to their life, and I feel like that changed a lot in the person, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like people appreciate that, and it just makes people's day sometimes. You know, you never know. You never know.
You never know what someone's going through, what kind of battles they're fighting behind closed doors.
Not for sure, man, for sure.
When they say, did Fern find love in Japan like BT did? I don't know what they talking about. They
Keeps it real.
Keeps it denying it, huh?
I don't know nothing about what you're talking about.
Oh man, you guys talking about the woman, man? Respectfully, they're all beautiful, man. I've seen. I think I found love more, like a lot of times already. But
Mechakire, right? And Mecha Sukyode. Mecha Sukyode, I think it means I love you in Japanese. Yeah, one of the Japanese girls, she said that to me, and she taught me that. So I've been going crazy. Been an animal saying that to all the beautiful girls in the streets of Osaka. But
that's all BT been saying now.
it's all been saying, all of them, you know. Johnny Cotillo, he says, we love you, compa Fern.
Compa Johnny, shout out my boy Johnny, hasta Las Vegas.
Yes. They want to know, Fernando, do you think you will stay at 130 for a long time, or is a move to 135 inevitable?
Well, my pro debut was at 135, you know, and just too big. It was. I felt good, really, really good, but you know, in the Mexican household we ate la tortillas, and so I got lonjas at 135, you know. So, you know, I think at 130 it's more like where I'm ripped. 126, I made 126. I looked like really, really ripped, but I just felt a little bit drained, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll keep seeing, you know, as I grow, as I get older, and
he's young, man. He's not even like legally old enough to drink in the United States. He is in Japan, but not United States. He's still just 20 years old. So we gotta wait and see fight by fight what happens with him. But now they're asking me, BT, are you down for promoting too? No, I'm not gonna be a promoter. Maybe at the most like an advisor, consultant / like liaison type thing. But nah, I'm not gonna be a promoter. I can handle a lot though. I think this fight in particular, I learned a lot of things about about myself that I didn't even know. So you know, Mark Vasquez says no tortillas. Sorry, no eat. I guess he's saying don't eat the tortillas.
No more tortillas. No more tortillas.
Yeah. This is awesome. I'm always glad to hear the next generation and their story out. Yeah, man, there's a lot of fighters. There's a lot of fighters out there, man. And like I know Joseph. I mean, you guys have seen Joseph on the channel before. He's got a great story, and like I just think guys like look, Angelo. I think is gonna be, and I want to say it here. I've been saying it for you. I think he'll be on the pound list one day. But I think coming right behind him, you're gonna have a truckload of just really good fighters. Like you guys are gonna hear about Joseph Maicedo and Fernando and Eric Lances Jr. and all kinds of just really, really awesome fighters. And then in some cases, guys are gonna come in as the B-side. You're gonna be like, come out of nowhere, bang, and it's gonna be like sensational.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, but look, guys, we do have things to tend to today. It was a pleasure to spend time with you guys and just put the finishing touches on covering this fight for you guys. There'll be more content here from Japan. I'm planning on being at more fights. I'm not sure if I'll be at I think I'll be at New Year's with Rikishi, but it's not like 100% yet. So if I am, cool. If not, it's all good. I'll be here at least till Jin versus Norman. So you're gonna get a lot of Japanese content. And just thank you guys for the support of Angelo, of course, because I think he really deserves it. And thank you for supporting my channel as well. And thank you for the new supporters with Fern. And yeah, like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.